Hello, everybody. It is I, TDI Fan 2024, and welcome to another review. Since this video is coming out, I guess you guys are probably wondering. Yep, I barely finished season 4 of Total Drama. Like not even an hour ago. I watched all the episodes, and now it is time for me to do my review. Now, of course, I did watch Revenge of the Island years ago, but I can't recall if I ever finished it. Like, I remember I watched it, and then I think I just got bored of it, probably. And I just I dropped the show, or the season anyway. But now I've seen it fully. Now I'm certain that I've seen it fully. And yeah, in this video, you'll get my character rankings as well as my own thoughts on the season as a whole. So with that being said, let's just get on to the character rankings. So here's the first season that we got that's got a brand new cast. That's right, none of the OG cast members came back for this season. Even though there was a few cameos, but we'll discuss about those cameos when I talk about my overall thoughts. So let's just get on to the character rankings. We're gonna start with Chris. Now we already know Chris has been getting even more insane as this show goes on, and this season is no different. Like, he keeps on getting crazy and crazy and more ruthless, and he like does not care at all about the contestants. Like, he like really wants to see them die at this point. But hey, at least he's still pretty entertaining, but this season was definitely not his brightest season. As a matter of fact, out of the first 4 seasons, I think this is where we see Chris at his worst, both mentally and overall as a character. And yeah, I'm just gonna keep him a B tier because yeah, Chris he was mostly just like a freaking a prick at this point in the season, instead of like, the Chris that we got to like for the most part from the first 3 seasons. Now Chef, he wasn't that sidelined this season. Like, there was a whole episode where Chef was actually like the host of the season for the remaining players of that one episode. So it's kind of like they gave him the same treatment from season 1 and 2, which is cool because he really did get sidelined hard in season 3, which is not good for Chef. But this season, I'd say we got to see a bit more of him, which is awesome. And not gonna lie, Chef was a lot better than Chris this season, which is kind of shocking. So I'm gonna put Chef in the A tier because, like, sure, Chef is also brutal, but I think since we got to see more of the Chef that we all know and love from the first 2 seasons anyway, back in this season, and I personally liked all the Chef moments we got in this season. So that's why I think in this season, which is rare, but Chef was actually better than Chris in my opinion for this season. So that's crazy. But yeah. All right, now for the actual characters. So we're going to go based on the elimination order. We got Stacy, the first boot. I was reading comments. A lot of people were saying that Stacy is a character that was made to be the first boot, which, after I watched it, yeah, it's pretty obvious. Like, she gets the least amount of screen time out of anybody in this season, and it's not hard to see why. Also, she's definitely one of the worst characters. I know she has her fans and all, but I just do not like Stacy at all. I wouldn't like call her super bad, but she's pretty bad, so I'm gonna put her in D tier. I don't know if there's any character here that is super bad because, like I said, Stacy is definitely the worst. So I think D is where that will be the worst for this season because I don't think there's, like I said, I don't think there's any character in this season that's actually really bad, but Stacy is definitely the worst in my opinion out of everybody here. Next is Dakota. Dakota, I enjoyed her moments. When she turned to Dakota Zoid, that was when I started to like her a lot less. I liked her when it was just Dakota. Dakota Zoid wasn't my thing. I know there are also people who liked when Dakota turned to Dakota Zoid, but for me, it wasn't my cup of tea. When she turned to Dakota Zoid, I was like, yeah, this ain't it, Chief. But for when it was just Dakota, I liked her, not gonna lie, as a character. And I liked her dynamic with Sam. Like, that whole relationship is one of the best, honestly. I wish it was just Dakota, not Dakota Zoid, but that's just me. So I think because they pretty much ruined her character, in my opinion, at the very end, like the later half of the season, I'm gonna put her in C tier. But if it was just Dakota, then it'd be B tier. But because of what happened to her, I'm gonna keep her in C tier. So overall, not a bad character, but I didn't like how they handled her. But yeah, that's just me because I know there are people who actually liked what happened with her. Okay, next is B. B, B, B. Now, he did not speak at all in this season. He only had like a few grunts and he made a few noises here and there, but that's it. Um, but yeah, B, he was definitely like if they kept him longer, he could have legit made it to the finale. B was like the smartest one for sure, one of the smartest contestants, and like he carried his team for like the first two episodes. Episode 3, he would have carried his team if Scott didn't do what he did. But yeah, B, like he's definitely one of the better contestants here when it comes to strategically and physically, even though he's like the biggest one here. But physically, he's also, you know, a top tier competitor. He's up there with like Lashana, for example. So I'd say B was pretty underrated. I would have loved to see how he would have done if he stayed a bit longer, but he got out third. So yeah. But yeah, I like B. I don't hate B. Honestly, he's probably one of my favorites of this cast. I'll put him in A tier. He's not an S tier character, but for what we saw of B, he was pretty cool. He was pretty chill. I just wish we at least got him to like say something, but nah, that didn't happen. Now, Dawn, probably the most beloved character in this cast. There are so many Dawn fans. I like her. I do not dislike her. I like her as a character. Especially after this rewatch. Because at first I didn't really get the hype around Dawn. But after this rewatch, I definitely see it now. She's pretty much like the scary girl for the reboot. Like that one character, the one oddball that everybody just starts to love for some reason, which I like. I at least see it, or I at least understand it for Dawn. Not so much for Scary Girl, but for Dawn, I at least understand why she has that amount of fans that she does. But yeah, she was pretty chill as well. She was a pretty good character, but they definitely did her dirty when she got out. And I know many people were upset when she got out. But yeah, I'd say she's also an A tier. Like I wouldn't call her an S tier character, but she was definitely another great character in this season. And I think A tier is where she should be. Now Sam. Sam, I have mixed feelings, or I have mixed feelings when it comes to Sam because, as you all know, if you watched all of Total Drama, you know that Sam does come back in Total Drama All Stars. And honestly, out of everybody in this season, I don't understand it. I mean, I guess I kind of do because if you see the elimination order, after the main six that made to the merge, well, there's also Dakota Zoid, but of course not going to bring back Dakota Zoid. So I guess it does make sense why they brought back Sam because he was the next one that was like out of the elimination order. He would have been the next choice. But I feel like, and this just might be biased, but I feel like B, Dawn, or Brick would have been a much better all-star material. Even Anne Maria. And I don't like Anne Maria, but I'd say even she was more all-star material than Sam. As a matter of fact, freaking Anne Maria and Brick made it farther than Sam. So yeah, those two. Definitely Brick was robbed for sure for all-stars. But they brought Sam, and I think the only reason why is because, one, he's pretty much Owen, but not that gross. So, and I guess they wanted a Owen filler character to be in the season, so that's why they got Sam. But yeah, I don't dislike Sam. I think he's an alright character. Not too great, but not too bad either. So I'm gonna put Sam in B tier because I feel like the later half of Sam's arc, I guess, in this season was much better than Sam at the beginning of the season. And let's see how I feel about him after I rewatch All Stars. I think I'm going to like him a lot less, but that's just my prediction. For now, Sam is going to stay in B tier. He's an alright character, alright in my book, but definitely not all-star material. Now, Anne Marie and Brick. These two both got out on the same episode and at the same time. So let's start with Anne Maria because, yeah, I think she overstayed her welcome a bit. Anne Maria is definitely another character that's not my cup of tea. As a matter of fact, she's going to be in the D tier with Stacy, but I think Stacy's still worse. But second worst would definitely be Anne Maria. She was definitely not my cup of tea. I didn't like her at all in this season. So yeah, I was pretty glad that she got out, but I wish it was only her and not Brick. Brick was robbed for sure. Because, yeah, Brick's another good character. Like, I would say he's close to, like, Tyler's level when it comes to how good of a character he is in Total Drama. And honestly, I'm going to keep him an A tier. I think I like him a bit more than Dawn and B. So, yeah, that's where I'd probably put Brick. He's a good character. Underrated for sure. He should have been in All-Stars, not Sam. But that's just me. And probably other people, based on how I see people talk about these characters. But yeah, Brick's another great character. I'm glad he got a good amount of screen time when he was in the season. Now, Mike, the most complex character in this entire season, and one of the most complex characters in the entire series. Before we do actual Mike, I want to first just go through his multiple personalities. So let's see. The worst out of these four, in my opinion, would probably be Svetlana. Yeah, I don't like Svetlana. That's probably a very hot take, but Svetlana is okay. But probably also put Svetlana in D tier, but yeah, probably higher than Anne and Stacy. But yeah, I didn't like Svetlana. Chester, he was fine. I'd put him in C tier. Chester was fine. Vito, I mean, he's probably my personal favorite out of the bunch when it comes to his personalities. So I'm going to put him in B tier, but bottom B for sure. And Manitoba, we only saw him for like, what, 2 episodes? Yeah, he was all right too. I think C tier, higher than Chester though. Yeah, there. I don't really have much to say about his personalities. And now Mike. Mike as a character. If it's just Mike, I like Mike. I know some people may call him as an overrated character, which for some part is true. But for me, after rewatching this season, I liked Mike as a character. I feel like he was one of the best characters out of this cast. And honestly, he's my first S tier. This might be biased, but I really liked Mike in this season. I don't know if I'll like him as much in All-Stars because we all know what happens in All-Stars, but we'll see what happens once I watch that season, which is going to be a crazy ride, that's for sure. But yeah, for now, Mike's the first S-tier character. He won't be the only S-tier character, because we're still 5 characters left, and I'll at least tell you guys now, one of them, and probably only one of them, will also be in S tier. But we'll get to that character soon. Next is Jo. I'm not a huge fan of Jo. She's pretty much like Eva, but with a bit more personality, and I guess a better character overall. Because she made it to the top 5 this season, and she actually knew what to do. She was also kind of like the Heather of the season, but not really, because I guess that role would go to Scott. But yeah, Jo's like the like second Heather, I guess, in this season. She was doing a lot, and she was, trying to be like large and in charge. But still, overall as a character, she's not a personal favorite of mine. I thought she was just okay in general. Honestly, I think I prefer Dakota over Jo, and that's saying something. So I'm going to put her in C tier, but right under Dakota. So yeah, that's where I'll put Jo. I don't really have much of an opinion on Jo overall. Now Scott. Scott. I liked Scott. For a villain character, they definitely did a good job with Scott. And they did an even better job with Scott. Overall as a character, Scott is one of the best when it comes to how good they are as a contestant, because one, he got 4th this season, right? And the season after, well, spoilers for All-Stars, he got 3rd. So you see, Scott's been doing a lot. And this season he was probably doing the most. Like, he tried to get people out on his team. He tried to sabotage his team and put the blame on others, like with B and Dawn and probably Sam and Brick. But yeah, he did a lot this season. And I guess his whole bit with Fane was pretty funny for some part, but I wasn't really too keen on that bit of Scott's character. I just think Scott overall is a decent character and a good villain. Like, not as great as Heather or Alejandro, but he's like a bit under them. Like, he's much better of a antagonist than Courtney, like Total Drama Action Courtney. But yeah, Scott is a pretty great character, and I think I'm gonna put him in A. As a matter of fact, I think he's gonna be top of A, because actually no, because Chef's the GOAT. But yeah, out of those other characters on A tier, I think I like Scott the most out of the other three. So yeah, Scott, pretty good character. Now Zoe. I know Zoe's there's like a love and hate thing going on with Zoe. Some people really love her, and there's also some people who really hate her, and others in between that just consider her as a mid character. Overall, I thought Zoe was a great character. Because Zoe, like, how can you not hate her? I think All Stars was what really made people start to not like Zoe, and her whole arc of like her turning to like like in the episode where Scott gets out, she like went full sergeant mode, and I wasn't big on that whole arc that she had. I didn't really care for it. I mostly liked Zoe when it was just Zoe, not like Sergeant Zoe or whatever. But she's still overall a pretty good character. I'm gonna put her in A tier, but probably under Scott and Brick. I think that's where I'd put Zoe. She's overall a good character, just pretty complicated as well, like Mike, but not as complicated as Mike. Anyways, now I got our final two, Lightning and Cameron. Since Cameron is, I'm pretty sure Cameron's the canon winner, we'll end with Cameron. So Lightning would be next. Lightning, honestly, he's probably my favorite character in this entire cast. I'm not sure if I said that for Mike. If I did, then I was wrong. Lightning, overall, is my favorite character. Sure, he's like not the nicest character, but he's definitely the funniest character. Like every Lightning moment in this season just gets a chuckle out of me. He's like definitely the funniest character in this entire cast and season. And overall, Lightning, he was good competitive wise too. Like he did a lot in the challenges. He also like snitched or switched on who he was working with like all the time. And he was determined. He was determined. Unlike other contestants here, he was very determined to make it to the top. And that it was pretty refreshing to see him make it to the finale. Usually you don't get like antagonists to make it to the finale except for like Heather and Alejandro for sure, and I guess Duncan for some part, I don't know. But yeah, Lightning as a character, he's great and funny, of course. And honestly, he's my favorite of this cast, so I'm going to put him in S tier for sure. Anyways, now we have one last character, Cameron. And yeah, he's the canon winner. I saw both finales. Like I saw both like wins. I didn't see the full finales for both because if you've watched them, you know that they're pretty much the same. The only different part is the part of where one character wins instead of the other. But yeah, Cameron. I guess you can call him the underdog of the season because I don't think anybody expected Cameron to make it to the finale, and he did, and he won. Like he's the canon winner. So yeah, Cameron overall, he's a pretty good character. But compared to like him, Zoe, and Mike, I probably prefer him the least out of those three. But still, I'd say he's a pretty decent character. I'm gonna put him in A tier, right above B and Dawn, because Cameron, like, he is the underdog. He did a lot for the most part. He helped with his team. He helped when he was in the merge. Like, he did a lot, and I would say he deserved his win. Although personally, I would prefer Lightning to win because, like I said, he's my favorite character in this cast. But still, Cameron definitely did deserve his win, and yeah, that's pretty much my ranking for these characters. Do I like this cast more than the OG cast? Definitely not. Is this cast bad? No. The worst cast we'll get to pretty soon, and I'm guessing most of you guys know it already if you've seen the entire show. But yeah, overall, I'd say Revenge of the Island is a pretty decent season. My overall thoughts is that, is it as good as the first three seasons? No. As a matter of fact, out of the 4 seasons, I'd say this is the least, or this is the worst one out of the 4, but definitely not the worst season. We'll get to those seasons. There are 2 seasons that I can think of that will be like top contenders for being the worst season. But Revenge of the Island is definitely far from being the worst season. It's not a bad season. By all means, it's not a bad season. It's just some things worked, some things didn't. And overall, I'm biased for the OG cast. I missed seeing them. It would have been awesome to see all 24 of them back on the island for another season. But I know, based on the cameos, most of them would not want to come back, especially like Gwen and Duncan and DJ, of course. Like, I'm glad we got to see a DJ cameo, but after that cameo, like, you can definitely see that these contestants would not, and I mean they would not come back, like, at all, because, like, if by choice they would not, but if they were forced to, then, you know, they were forced to. But, like, for All Stars, for example, but, like, of course they would not come back unless they're Owen or Noah or Jeff, because we saw those guys come back in Dunkel's race. But that's technically not Total Drama, but it is what it is. Anyways, yeah, overall, I'd say Revenge of the Island is a pretty solid season. Not bad, not great, pretty solid. The cast is also pretty solid. Out of the, like, if I had to rank the casts, like, based on each generation, actually, I shouldn't do that. I should wait until I do, like, a Total Drama season ranking, which at the end of this binge, I will not only do the character rankings, but also a season ranking video. So stay tuned for that. That'll probably happen around the summertime because there's still All Stars, Pacateo, Redunculous Race, and yes, I will even rewatch the 2 seasons of the reboot because why not? Anyways, I think that's it for this review. Total Drama Revenge of the Island. If I had to rank it out of 10, I'd say this season's a solid 7. Yeah, 7. I think that's what I gave Action. If it was, then that means this season will actually be a 6. A 6. Let's do a 6. 6 out of 10. Pretty solid for the most part. And I'd say most of these characters are decent. Like, there's only a couple that I'd say are either okay or just bad. But yeah, that is my review / character ranking of Total Drama Revenge of the Island. For those of you who have seen this season, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Who are your favorite characters? Who are your least favorite characters? Who are you rooting for to win? And which winner do you prefer, Cameron or Lightning? Let me know in the comments. And as always, stay tuned for the next review. The next season is definitely a very controversial season. Total Drama All-Stars. Yeah, I haven't seen the season in years. Let's see if I still like it, because I remember as a kid I actually liked it, and I now, growing up, I see all the issues it has. Let's see how I feel about it after I rewatch the entire season again. So yeah, stay tuned for that, and as always, thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned for the next one, and this is TDI Fan 2024 signing off. Peace.